Hey everybody, welcome back to another tutorial with me, Mycoz. Today we're going to be making some wicked gating effects, creating some pretty nasty rhythms using Ableton's gate plugin and Ableton's operator. You might see I've already got some things going, so let's go ahead and dive right in. I'm going to explain some of the things that I've got here, just so you're not lost from the get-go. Over here in track 1, I've got machine running, just playing a simple dance groove. Let's have a listen. Very basic. Group 2, I've got 2 tracks here in group 2. 3 is a very basic bass line in the style of psytrance, pluck style. This audio track is a vocoded vocal in the style of Infected Mushroom, creating a very thick bass there. We'll dive to those at the end. They're not really important. They're just kind of filling out the demo for you. Here in track 5, we've got Omnisphere. It's playing a big trance synth and string. You'll see that here once we get into the gating. Number 6, Omnisphere, is another one that we're going to gate up. We'll jump into that very shortly. 7, MIDI, is the track we're going to use for operator. I just have it empty right now because I created all of these various rhythms that we're going to use for the demo. I didn't want to create those on the fly, so let's go ahead and dive right in. We're going to get started chopping up this 6-track Omnisphere. Very distorted sound, you'll see here by the MIDI. It's even out of time. What I wanted to show you here was that we're going to take something weird, something that's not rhythmic in itself, something that's completely out of time, and we're going to use that gate to force it into time. We're going to make it do something cool. So let's hear the sound by itself, and just so you can see what it sounds like. Very trashy, very grimy, but let's turn it into something. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense right now. On this MIDI track, if you don't have one already, obviously open yourself up a MIDI track, and we're going to slap Ableton's operator into it. This is my default operator here. Yours should look something similar. If it does not, we're just going to use something very basic: sine, square. Very, very quick attack, decay, release. It's just gonna pop. We're just using this for signal essentially, so you want these to be very short, very precise. Let me go ahead and let you hear what this is. This MIDI clip that I created here is just one beat on beat 4, so we can be able to hear what the gate is going to do to this sound here. On track 6, we're going to go ahead and drag Ableton's gate right on in there. As far as signal flow goes, we're going to put this right after our instrument, whether this is Omnisphere or whatever you like to use. We're going to put it right after in the signal flow. You'll see in the next example why that is and what you can do stylistically different, but right now we're just going to throw this right on here. I'm going to bring the threshold down to about 16 or so. If you use something else as your audio source, you might have to play with this, but with Ableton's operator, I know this is pretty comfy place for it. We're going to move the hold down. We're going to leave the release where it is. We're going to open up this and click the sidechain button here. With the input is going to be our newly created operator track. So now what we should get is this sound playing just this one beat every measure. So let's see what that sounds like. Just a thought. So let's go ahead and visit this next rhythm pattern here, just so I can kind of show you the difference. Yeah, see, we can kind of turn that into something weird, something funky. This is all going to be And your rhythmic interpretation here is what's going to create the feel. So me, myself, as a drummer, I created all these little patterns that you're going to see, and it's just natural for me. That's why I didn't go into the creating of these MIDI patterns. As you'll see, some of them are kind of complex, maybe if you don't really understand rhythms, but if you'd like for me to go over that in a future video, maybe how I come up with rhythms and why I do some of the things I do, throw a comment down below. Let's go ahead and move on to this 5th channel here, Omnisphere. This is the big string classic synth sound that we're gonna mangle next. Let's turn that on and let's hear it and just see what it sounds like first. Very classic synth sound. What we're gonna do is I put reverb on it here, but we'll show you what that does. Let's go ahead and put our gate in where right after the instrument. I'm sorry. What are we doing? It doesn't want me to do that for some reason. There we go. I don't know what's happening there, but we're fixed. Throw this gate back into our signal chain. This is where it starts to get weird with your signal chain. You can throw the gate in obviously anywhere that suits your stylistic kind of preference, but here, the reason why I threw the gate in still at the beginning is if we put the gate here at the end of the reverb, it's going to cut off the tail of that reverb, and that's not really what I want here. I want a fat pluck up front, and then the tail of that reverb to kind of kiss you at the end. So let's hear what this sounds like first with just the gate, and then I'll throw the reverb in after a couple beats of that. Oh, silly me, we forgot to do our process here. Sidechain from the operator, drag our threshold down, drag the hold down. There we go, now it should work. Let's do it with the reverb. I'm going to switch them next so you can see what that sounds like stylistically. It doesn't sound too much different than the first one. So that's why in this particular instance I am putting the reverb after the gate. Obviously you can do some pretty funky things with say flanger after the gate. Flanger is one that can go gate before or after the gate, as well as some of the various delays and time things you might want to do after the gate. Let's go ahead and hear both of these together with this rhythm. Notice I put them both doing the same rhythm, and that's just because I think that this distortion sound here on our 6th channel really fills out this string of synth sound. It gives a little more depth and a little more interesting flavor to it. So let's see what that sounds like. Yeah, so that's basically all you got to do. You'll see that in these rhythms, I do everything from little tiny blips to regular, 16th notes. This varying note duration is what's going to really bring your rhythm patterns to life. And if you can come up with some cool and interesting things, that's really what's going to set yourself apart. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to go through and I'm play some of these rhythms that I created beforehand with the incorporated bass, just so you can see how everything kind of blends together at the end. Pay close attention to how each of these different rhythms changes the feel of the music. We'll see that with these both playing the same thing, they become the driving force in the back. So creating these different rhythms creates different kinds of feels. Let's go ahead and have a listen. And there we have it. Another thing I didn't mention, I should say, is that you should obviously leave your operator track muted. We don't want to hear that. If you're gating from a source of audio or something else, it could be stylistically appropriate to leave that unmuted. But in our case, since we're using operator, we're just going to leave it muted. Again, guys, about these rhythms, I know that some of them may be complex, and if you'd like to hear me go on more about how I create these rhythms and how I think rhythmically and where I come up with all this nonsense, throw me a comment. I like to hear what you guys think about that. But yeah, that's all we're going to be doing today, and there you have a very basic way to create some pretty sick sounding rhythms here with Ableton's built-in instruments. If you guys like this tutorial, please smash the like button. If you have any questions, comments, please throw them down in the comments below, and I'll get back to you personally. If you guys would like to see anything else, please let me know. Cheers.